This podcast is brought to you by Coke, Am First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Ann's Quilts, Guaranteed Labels, Central State Bank, and Sunrise Docks.
Hey, it's Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. Yeah, he's got it going on, gotta come and check this. Talking people, talking places from Bubba's perspective. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba on the lake. Hey, Bubba, yeah, Bubba on the lake. Let's go.
Hey, it's time again. I'm your semi-retired, mostly washed-up host, formerly of the Rick and Bubba Show, and I want to welcome you to Bubba on the Lake. My name is Bill Bubba Bussy. Thank you for being here, and we have a very, very busy show. I'm calling this one Tariffs, Texas, and the Final Four wrap-up. A lot to cover. We had our big Final Four challenge, or our bracket challenge, I should say. And we have a winner. We have a runner-up. We're going to try to catch both of those folks, talk to them. We'll also recap our trip to Texas. And, of course, we're coming to you live from the Mellow Yellow studio. And some of you have sent questions and said, hey, Bubba, where can I get Mellow Yellow? Where can I find it? I would say ask your local place that you shop or your convenience store. Let them know that you want it if they don't have it, and most of the time they will be very responsive to that. So we love our Mellow Yellow. We love their sponsorship, and we want to support those guys, and that's usually the best thing to do. Just ask the decision maker if they can take care of it. Of course, our website is bubbaonthelake.com, and we have the new message line. Have you tried that out? We'll try to give you a few examples of how that's working. 308 Big Lake. That's 308-244-5253 or 308 Big Lake. Now, we have a lot to talk about because of the Final Four trip to San Antonio. Some of you had told me that San Antonio was a lovely place, and it is. We had a wonderful trip out there, and we'll tell you a little more about that as the show goes on. We stayed at a hotel that was in walking distance of the Alamo Dome, and one of the great things about San Antonio, far as the Final Four, everything is kind of close. So you can walk to the fan experience. You can walk to all the gift shops that are around. There's a lot of restaurants, bars, all that kind of stuff. And it's all kind of in one area. It's kind of right there between the Alamo Dome and the Tower of America, which was awesome to go up in, by the way. I love high places. So it was a lot of fun, and we posted some of those pictures online. There'll be some more coming online shortly, too. But it was a great view up there, and very nice town. Riverwalk, I did not get there. I was having some foot trouble and trying not to walk any more than I had to. The kids went. They had a great time. They loved it down there. So San Antonio gets high marks from me on this whole trip. We also spoke with people who go to all of the Final Fours. These people don't even have a team in the hunt. They just like good basketball. They like the atmosphere. And, folks, it is a great atmosphere at the Final Four. The NCAA really, really rolls out a great atmosphere, performance. There's a lot of signage around town, the free concerts. We had Pitbull one night. We had Chris Stapleton one night. We had a lot of folks in between. So they really put on a great show. And all of those people, and even some of the people from the NCAA we spoke with, they love San Antonio because it is so walk-friendly and everything is so close together. And we hit some really cool restaurants while we were there. Never felt unsafe, and it was a lot of fun. Now, a lot of the buildings downtown have been, they're older and they've been, redone 2 or 3 times for different things, repurposed. So, you've kind of got that old look, but you've also got, some streets that are very easy to navigate and areas. And, San Antonio has a lot of nice folks in it. They're very friendly. And, a little bit of that Southern hospitality. It felt like home. We've been some places and you feel like you're in a foreign country. That was not the case. Everybody was real nice. And overall, I have to give San Antonio in the Final Four extremely high marks. Now, as far as going to Final Fours, this is the second one we went to. We went to Minneapolis. It was a little more spread out. The weather was a little rougher there. But the whole Final Four experience is a lot of fun. If you and your family are sports fans and you're thinking about going to one, I would say everybody needs to. I mean, it needs to be on your bucket list. It's a fun couple of days of basketball, and there's all kind of celebrities in town, and you see them. And we had several NBA players sitting not too far from us. They get recognized during the games a lot of times. We saw the Florida head football coach. He was there. And we'll also rank the fans. I'm going to tell you about the fans, and we had good and bad experience with some of that, as you would expect. Anytime you have college teams, any of you that have been to college sports, you know what I'm talking about. So you've always got some fools in the crowd, or acting the fool, I should say. And you have to navigate some of that. But overall, a very, very fun trip. And we'll recap that. We do want to thank our winners. R. Sudrith, who was the winner of our bracket. Nancy Woodard was the runner-up. We'll try to talk to both of them. We have a lot more going on we got to cover. And, of course, we need to talk a little bit about tariffs and the panic in the stock market. We'll cover all of that, and we'll be back in just a minute. Thank you for being part of Bubba on the Lake.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Looking for that beautiful quilt or other fabulous gifts? Check out Ann's Quilt and Country Store in Rogersville. Come see Miss Kim for all your quilting needs. She does custom quilts, memory and t-shirt quilts, and will also quilt your quilt top. There are gifts for women, babies, and even knives for the menfolk. Visit Miss Kim at Ann's Quilts, 1614 Lee Street in historic downtown Rogersville, Alabama. Call 256-483-2276 or search the store on Facebook and Google.
You're listening to Bubba. Whoa. Bubba on the Lake.
Well, I know a lot of you are pressed to get the podcast on because you're checking your retirement plan online, and I understand that. Being that age now myself, you're always concerned anytime the stock market starts acting a little flaky. But I want to encourage all of you not to panic. These kind of things happen. We have a situation with these tariffs that there's going to be some rough water before it gets smoother. But I really think that Trump is doing the right thing here. And anytime you're dealing with the stock market, the thing to do if you want to make money is do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And that's, look, I'm not a professional financial advisor, but I did run a lemonade stand one time. And when the market is down, that's a buying opportunity. It will go back up. As long as we have battleships afloat and we have a military and the dollar is still out there, it will go back up. It always does. But what it is a buying opportunity. Most people get caught up when the market's high and the news is, the stock market, it's through the roof today. It's a new high, 3 new highs this week, and everybody's excited. And then they want to get into it. Well, that's really not the time to get into it. That's probably the time to sell some of it and make a little profit, put it back, and then you're playing with house money. The buying opportunities are when everything goes low. And that's always the case. It's not just because of the tariff situation. So the tariffs themselves, as you have probably read or heard there's a lot of companies, or a lot of countries, I should say, that have been putting tariffs on us since even back to World War II. And they were trying to protect their markets at home over foreign goods coming in and putting workers out of work. Does that sound familiar? Ross Perot, Ross Perot, with his charts, he was actually correct when he said the North American free trade zone was going to create a giant sucking sound. And it did. It took a lot of our jobs as far as manufacturing, a lot of stuff in clothing and all of that out of the country. Now, I think free trade is the way to go if you can actually have free trade. But free trade is not when they're taxing us and we are letting their stuff come in here free. So we've got to have a balance of this. And I think it's only fair that we tax people what they're taxing us so that we're on a level playing field. Now, will that cause a disruption while it goes into place? Yes, it will. That's what you're seeing now. You're seeing markets react. You're seeing people panic. Prices are going to go up. But eventually, these countries will lower their tariffs. They have no choice, because if we put tariffs on, they put more tariffs on, we put more tariffs on, eventually you get to a standstill where it's like a circular firing squad. Nobody wins. And somebody in the group will finally go, we'd be better off if we quit taxing each other and had free trade, or we have a very reasonable tariff on things coming into the country. And what I mean by reasonable, that's 2 or 3%, something like that, not some of these outrageous things you see now. So if a country feels like they need to protect their home economy and they want to put a slight tariff on, I don't like that. I'm not a proponent of that, but I can see that. But the best thing is for there to be no tariffs, and we sell our goods abroad, they sell their goods here. That's good for the consumer, which we all are. It's also good for the workers, which we all are in one way, fashion, or another. So we've had a real decline in our manufacturing sector, and I think we need to build that back up. We don't need to rely totally on overseas products to supply critical things that we need, like medicine and electronics and some of that stuff. So it's got to play out. It's just like a ball game. It's just like a basketball game, just like a football game. It has to play out. And I think when the game is over, we will all be very happy that it was done, and it was done this way, even though it's going to cause some people some, there are going to be some angst about it as it takes place, because nobody likes to see that stock market go down. And like I said, it only creates a buying opportunity. Trust me, the big guys who are really, really wealthy, they are in the buying mode. They're going to, the first time they see this market look like it's going to go up, they're going to jump in and start buying, and it'll take off again real quick. So for all of us that are sneaking up on retirement age, that's very important. And even you young folks, you need to know that. I really think that young folks need to start some type of retirement just as soon as they can when they get a job. Now, I know, like my kids, they go, I can't pay my bills, I ain't got enough. Well, my mom used to say something. I haven't always done it, but I've always thought about it, and she's right. Pay yourself first, and that means save. And it doesn't have to be huge amounts. I mean, you can't save 25% of what you're bringing in. It'd be great if you could, but most people can't. So save a little bit. How much? Well, 10%, 5%, whatever you can do, but get it in there and get it into some type of retirement fund and let it start building interest. I mean, compound interest is magic. And everybody likes something for nothing, and that is the best something for nothing you can get is compound interest. So, you get you a good financial advisor, and they'll get you a good mix of stocks and mutual funds and bonds and savings accounts, and you can navigate it. It is what is great about America, and it will grow. And historically, it has grown. It's just a wonderful thing, and plus that supplies capital for these companies that want to expand and build factories and hire more workers and all that. So it's tough for us to compete on the national, international markets when, a lot of these folks don't get paid what our workers here in America are paid. And, there's probably some evening out of that you're going to have. But overall, long term, we need fair trade going both ways. And we haven't had that for the most part. And so I think as that develops, it will be good for all of us. I hope so. If not, we will all be out cutting wood together. Trust me. All right, that'll cover it for tariffs today. Thank you all for your questions on that. And we will move on to some other things here. We also mentioned earlier the message line, 308-244-5253, or an easier way to remember it, 308 Big Lake. I like that. 308 Big Lake. It's a hunting bullet and Big Lake. You can't go wrong with that, right? So we're gonna share some of those calls with you here in just a minute and let you hear some of that and encourage more of you to do that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's limited in time, so you can't get too long-winded, which is really good for all of us. So let's take a listen to a few of our comments that have come in on the message line, 308 Big Lake.
Bubba, just wanted to say we miss you on the radio and have been enjoying the podcast. Loved every episode so far. Keep it up, man, and looking forward to the next one. Thanks.
Hey, Bubba, this is Bobby from a little community above Holler, Alabama, little community out of Davil, Alabama. Hope to see you and Coach Pearl on the lake, and always, War Dane Eagle.
Hey, Bubba, I just want to know what you think about these tariffs that Trump's passed. The market is dropping like a rock.
Hey, yo, Bubba, this your boy Josh from South Carolina. Listen, I've been looking for Meliella all over the place and can't find the Meliella Zero they used to have. Didn't know with your partnership with Meliella if you could bring some of that back or at least get it shipped to St. Matthews, South Carolina. Love your podcast, love your show. Keep it up. Look forward to hearing you for a long time.
Hey, Bubba, this is Jacob Parker. I've got a joke for you. What did the fish say when he ran into the wall? Damn.
Hey, Bubba, loving the podcast so far. Got an idea. Let's do food on the lake, do some food reviews. Good way for us to get some free food because, we're looking to eat. And all the restaurants know we'll give them 5 stars, especially for getting free food. Have a great time at the Final Four. Love you.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
The perfect checking account does not exist. At least not at a bank. At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. That's what you'll find at AmFirst. Only available for qualifying members. AmFirst is federally insured by the NCUA.
You know one thing I love about Buffalo Wild Wings? You can get wings with any of their 26 sauces and dry rubs for takeout and delivery. That's like bringing an entire B-dubs home with you, which you can't do. I tried. I've knocked down so many walls, only to then be told to halt construction because I'm not zoned to be a sports bar. Kind of just looks like a big pergola or something because of the lack of walls. At least these 26 sauces and dry rubs are available to go. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
Where's Bubba?
I'll tell you where. He's on the lake.
Well, we have a very special person on the line, Nancy Woodard, who was the runner-up in our bracket challenge. Nancy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Bubba?
I am doing great. First off, thank you for participating, and congratulations. You were so close at winning this.
Oh, it was made watching the tournament so fun. Games that I normally wouldn't be interested in, so I enjoyed watching the games and then checking the brackets to see where I was. So thank you for doing the challenge.
So, Nancy, do you do a lot of brackets? Is this something you normally do? Because apparently you're very good at it.
No, I really don't. I started 2 or 3 years ago as a team bracket that we have 25 to 30 people in. So I actually filled out my bracket for my work team bracket and then submitted. I saw your contest and submitted the same entries into your contest. So in my team bracket, I actually won first, and then I came in second on yours.
Well, you had a great bracket, and do you normally follow this? Because, I mean, to pick at this level, this is amazing.
My husband and I do watch a lot of sports. So, I actually let the computer pick for me this time, but then I went back and I reviewed each and every game, and, the ones that I thought didn't have a chance of winning or didn't like the picks, then I went in and changed those. So it was a combination of the AI plus my own picks.
Nancy, that's still pretty impressive because I'm looking here at the standings, and you were right 99.9% of the time. That's incredible.
Yeah, by far my best bracket ever. It was a lot of luck. When Houston beat Duke, going into that game, I thought, I picked bad. I'm about to blow my bracket. So when Houston rallied back and beat them, I was really, I was happy that it looked like I was going to be in the winnings.
Well, Nancy, do you want to tell everybody what you do? You don't have to, but do you just want to let everybody know what you do?
I work in finance for a company in Birmingham.
So you're pretty good at the numbers.
Yeah, that's my day job.
Well, Nancy, thank you for being a part of this. And you have won $100 in Rick and Bubba. No, let me back up. Not Rick and Bubba, but Bubba on the Lake merchandise. Better get that right. And we appreciate you being a part of this. And hopefully by the next time that we do this, we'll have bigger and better prizes.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Well, to come in number 2 out of 770 people, that is incredible because yours truly came in at 416.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not too good. Especially, I did good. I got the final 4 right, but then it fell apart there. So, Nancy, you said you've been a long-time listener.
Yes, sir. I will always remember 9/11 and think of the show because I was driving into work. I worked at a bank at the time, and so I was on 65 driving into the office when the first plane crashed. And so, anytime I think about the 9/11, I always reflect back to that day and think of you guys.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. I remember thinking early on, we didn't know if this was going to be 1,000 planes or what, but
exactly.
They reacted quickly and I think made some good moves, even though we were caught a little off guard. And we'll never know for sure potential other attackers out there. But that was a crazy day. I remember that, and I remember calling Betty and telling her to get home, get off the roads. And, we just didn't know what to expect. We'd never seen anything like that in our lifetime or really in the history of the country.
That's true. And at the time, I worked with one of my friends at the bank. Her son-in-law, it was his first day at the Pentagon, and he was in communications. And so when the plane hit, we were with her, not knowing for hours if her son-in-law was safe, which he was. But, yes, it was a very dramatic and day that none of us will ever forget.
No, and it was one that I'll remember too, and I always enjoyed playing that back and listening to it and, kind of reliving that, even though it was tough, so that we don't forget. Well, Nancy, thank you. That's awful kind of you, and we appreciate you staying with us on the podcast and hope that you'll be there for future episodes.
Thank you. I look forward to listening to the show.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll be right back.
At Central State Bank, we believe community banking is more than just transactions. It's about relationships. For over 100 years, we've been helping neighbors grow, businesses thrive, and dreams become reality. Because when you bank local, you invest in your community. Central State Bank, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Visit us today or learn more at centralstatebank.com. Member FDIC.
Attention business owners, print buyers, and production managers. Guaranteed Labels is here to help you focus less on your printing, labels, and decals, and more on growing your business. Guaranteed Labels, your dependable printer for all types of industries. Quality, on-time shipments, and stock programs set us apart. If you're needing to focus less on your printing and more on your business, trust Guaranteed Labels. 800-741-7055 or GuaranteedLabels.com. Guaranteed Labels, still sticking since 1988.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
On the line, we have Hunter Busy. Hunter, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Well, how was the Final Four experience for you?
I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this one a lot more than Minnesota, and I think it had a lot to do with the venue. I really liked the setup over in San Antonio. Everything was closer together. I don't know. It just felt more, tight knit than Minnesota's Final Four for some reason. And the Alamo Dome is just phenomenal. That's a great venue to have a basketball game in because it just feels more together and not as spaced out like normal. Past Final Fours that I've seen, there's always like space in between the court and then like the first row of the stands. And like this one, it just felt, perfect. It was perfect placement. I have no complaints. It was 10 out of 10 from me.
Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier, and it was everything kind of close together in walking distance. The weather was good, a little windy the first day. We really had a contrast. We showed up, and it was 90 degrees. Then the next day it was cold and windy. Then it got real nice for a couple of days.
Yeah, I went from wearing shorts to a hoodie within 24 hours. It was I felt like I was in Birmingham or something with the bipolar weather we have here.
Well, talk to me about the game. What'd you think?
Which one? The Auburn game?
Well,
or
all
the,
of them. All
overall?
of them you went to.
Yeah, well, the Auburn one, obviously, I wish Auburn would have pulled it out, but Florida's just too good, and obviously they ended up winning the whole thing. Walter Clayton had the game of his life in that game. We got prime Steph Curry and Walter Clayton in that game, and somehow he turned into Jeremy Lin in the second game in the championship game, but they still, the team that he had around him it's too physical and it was too much for Houston to overcome. But that Duke game was crazy too, with Houston going on an 11-1 run to make it to the championship game to face Florida.
Tell everybody what happened. Tell everybody what happened to us in the second half of the Duke Houston game.
Oh, we ended up heading out there, at the end because it was at one point like a 12-point game, and we're thinking, right. Oh, Duke's got this. And we saw our window to leave, and, we were already kind of disappointed with how the Auburn game ended. And we're like, well, Duke's got this. It's going to be Florida Duke. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. We'll just head back. Well, we get back. Caitlin's like, hey, let's go out on the town. Let's run the town. Let's paint the town red. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. Well, we go to, like, Margaritaville over by the Riverwalk, and we walk in, and Houston's shooting free throws to, like, tie the game. And I'm like, you're kidding me. You were kidding me. And, like, I don't know what this is, like, kind of calling back to our experience in the stadium. It was a delight to see the Duke fans' faces with them blow that lead like that. It was such a delight because the Duke fans were not great at all. I think they were the worst fan base there.
Okay, so
I
was going to ask you, what did you think? Who was the worst fan base of what we saw? Now, keep in mind, everybody who is playing against you think is the worst fan base. But of the four we saw, what did you think Duke was the worst?
I would say so, especially where we were sitting and people arguing over seats when there were still 4 minutes to go in our game, and it was a 2-point game. I'm like, can y'all just sit down, please? We're trying to, like, I'm about to have a stroke over here, and y'all are worried about y'all seat numbers, which were, all over the place because I don't know who put the seats together, but they had them way out of order. You had it like 13, 3, 2, 11, 10. Like, people just were like, oh, that's not where I'm supposed to be sitting. Like, just read the numbers. They're scrambled. Just sit down.
Well, it's pretty easy. If you have a row and you start on the left-hand side looking at the seats is number one, and it goes up from there. Really doesn't matter what the seat says if they had them confused. But overall, it was a lot of fun. It was a great trip. And, you know, I was surprised how many people we met that go to Final Fours just to go. They don't have a team in the fight. This is just something they do every year.
Yeah, like I met people like that in Minnesota when we ended up staying for that game. I think you had already flown back at that point. Me and Katelyn stayed when Virginia played Texas Tech, and I believe Virginia won in overtime in that game.
Right.
But the people sitting behind us, I believe, were from StubHub or something like that, one of the major ticket, resale companies. But they say that, like, they go to the Final Four every year. Like, they make it a thing with their friend group. And a lot of people sitting around us in San Antonio say they go every year just because, regardless of who's in it, because it's a fun thing to go to. And I don't blame them. Final Four, if you've never been, it is quite the experience if you're just a basketball fan in general.
Yeah,
but
the
I felt
atmosphere.
like I was in heaven.
Yeah, the atmosphere is really cool. And next year will be.
I texted you this morning. If you're listening to this, we just got back yesterday. So I'm not sure when you'll be listening, but just, put the dates together. But, I go in, I'm like, so we left that atmosphere, and then now I'm expected to go back to Birmingham now. Like, I feel like I've experienced heaven just to go back and be like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Well,
great.
You're a sports fan and you love basketball. I'll have to give you that. That's you're all about it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a good trip. And talk a little bit about our bracket challenge. We have a winner.
Yes, we do. I can't figure out his first name, but Sudrith. I really hope I'm saying that right.
Rod. I think it's Rod. RODD.
Hopefully, yeah. I really hope I didn't botch his last name.
Sudrith? Is it Sudrith?
Sudrith, yeah, Sudrith. Yeah. He was our winner overall. Congratulations. And then Nancy Woodard is our runner-up. So congratulations to y'all. We had about 770 plus in that group overall. So it was really impressive. One of my friends actually who was in the running there at the end, who we ended up seeing at the tournament at the Final Four. Had Houston in his bracket. If Houston would have won, he would have jumped all the way to the top. That's how tight it was. So it was a great contest, and I hope we do more of those, and as well as other contests as well, not pertaining to basketball in the Final Four.
Yeah, it's Rob, ROBB, Sudrith,
Rob.
And I've already spoken with Nancy. She's already been on the podcast, and had a great conversation with her. But we have not heard from Rob yet, so we're still searching for Rob. Hopefully we can get him on before we have to publish the podcast. But he will go into Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. Hunter, thanks for kind of underwriting this and making it happen. Great idea, and hopefully we'll have more in the future. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, hopefully we do more contests that don't have anything to do with the Final Four, but we're definitely doing another bracket challenge next year. That was it was a lot of fun to keep up with and see who picked who, and how many times the leaderboard shuffled around. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So how did you end up, by the way? Where'd you end up? Oh, terrible. I was like 418th in the whole group. It was bad. It was a tragedy. So I beat you by a couple of spots, 416.
Yes. Yes. That's correct.
I missed a couple of the early upsets, but I did have the Final Four correct, and then I totally got the Final Four wrong. Totally got it wrong.
Oh man, that's part of it. That's bracket life right there.
Well, you just never know. I mean, every time you slide forward in the bracket, anything can happen. Hunter, thank you, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I enjoyed the trip. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to go to that. I enjoyed it. I got to double up on my sports bucket list this weekend, so it was a dream come true.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
When you need urgent care, Southern Immediate Care is here for you. Illness doesn't follow a 9-to-5 schedule, so we offer support 7 days a week at convenient locations throughout Birmingham and Northeast Alabama, dedicated to serving all ages from children to adults. Southern Immediate Care offers occupational medicine services, including DOT physicals and testing. At Southern Immediate Care, your health is our top priority. Visit southernimmediatecare.com or call 205-409-2794.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp. Refreshing. And ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
You're listening to Bubba. Whoa. Bubba on the Lake.
Well, we have a special guest on the line now, our spirited daughter, Caitlyn Busy. Caitlyn, welcome back, hon.
Hi.
Well, tell everybody what you thought of the Final Four this time.
You know, I had such a blast. I think that, you know, if we revisit our trip in 2019 to Minnesota, this one was definitely better for multiple reasons. I think, you know, we had kind of discussed, along with a bunch of other people there, that San Antonio was just a much better venue. Everything was really close together. And, you know, you're in the South. The weather was amazing. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a lot of fun, other than Auburn losing. But, you know, I love Auburn. I've grown up an Auburn fan. I went to Auburn. And I go into every sporting event just knowing we're going to lose. And if we win, then it's just a pleasant surprise for me. And I don't think that's being negative. I think it's just being realistic. And, like, I just don't want to get my hopes up. You know what I mean? When we were up in the first half, I was really optimistic. And then second half, you know, same thing, different font, happens a lot with Auburn. And, you know, I still love them. I still support them. I always will. But it's just like a broken record, you know?
You know, Hugh Freeze, when he took the job, he said he wanted to get that out of people. He wanted to get rid of well, that's so Auburn. And that's basically what you're talking about. I call it the other shoe. And, you know, it's almost like you can't enjoy success because you never dominate long enough to really enjoy that. You know, the runs like we've seen so many other schools have. And I will say this, it's never boring if you follow Auburn.
I agree. I think they're a really fun team to follow. I think the fan base has such a great energy. I think we have fantastic coaches that really just like pour into those athletes, and regardless of if we win or lose, I still love Auburn. So I mean, I'm happy. I don't really care. I don't get too invested in it. I think you're better off that way.
So we were talking about fandom. Spoke with your brother a little earlier, and we were talking about that. You had a kind of a negative experience with some Florida fans, didn't you?
Yeah, some of the Florida fans sitting around us were pretty heinous for no reason. Like I said, I love Auburn. I'm not going to stand up and get in anyone's face over Auburn because little to no room to talk. And, I mean, I'll cheer when Auburn scores, but, like, I'm not ever going to, like, talk smack. And, I mean, people, like, within an inch from my face. It was just ridiculous. I was just like, okay. Like, I don't really care to, you know, retaliate, but it was fine, just like the usual talking smack.
So your vote for the worst fandom there was definitely the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I didn't have any run-ins. A lot of people said Duke fans are nasty. I've never had a run-in with a Duke fan that was nasty, so, like, I can't really speak on that. But the Florida fans that I ran into were literally so gross and just, like, ratchet. And I didn't think that they really deserved to win, like, just based on how the game was played. They definitely deserved to beat Auburn, but I don't think they deserved to beat Houston. I hate how it ended because I felt like, and keep in mind, I know nothing about basketball really, but I felt like Houston outplayed them, if that makes sense.
You did get to see your longtime friend, Mel, who came up from Austin to see us?
Yes, my best friend Mel, she lives in Austin. She ended up making the trip up, and it's actually funny, like, Mel is one of those people that just kind of flies by the seat of her pants, and we joke that she has lucky girl syndrome. Like, it literally all just works out. She bought, like, a nosebleed seat for, like, a few $100 and then ended up sitting next to me the whole time because no one was sitting next to me the whole time. So she just got to chill in these seats for, like, free, basically. But we had a really good time. You know, we got to go out in San Antonio, hit the bar scene a little bit, you know, support the local economy.
Is that how you frame that?
It was really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce. Well, I saw you were pretty good at darts. I saw some of that footage.
Yes, I am. I love a good bar, playing some darts, different games, some pool here and there. But it was a lot of fun. We made Hunter go out with us to get him socialized a little bit. He had a good time though.
Yeah, I think he did. I think we all did. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I got to spend a little time with you and Hunter.
I know. I'm glad you can. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I feel so bad for you. You were in pain the whole time, walking around and such. But I hope you had fun because we did.
Oh, I did. I had a ball, and I wish I could have gone down to the Riverwalk with y'all, but it just wasn't working. I've got and what Katelyn's referring to, I have an inflamed Achilles. And how did it happen? Well, we don't know. That's called being old. And I've had it for the better part of 3 months now, limping around. And I've been to the doctor. I've done the boot thing. And, you know, we're going to have to address it some more, I guess. But it just takes a long time to get over an Achilles injury because there's just no blood flow. So I'm told.
Yeah, it definitely, you looked like you were in a lot of pain. I felt really bad for you. But I'm glad we got to go. I had so much fun. I think that it was definitely a better experience than 2019. And what's crazy about the Final Four is you always, and I think you mentioned this, Auburn seems to always be the last one in. And you literally have to play in a full-blown trip in like one day. And Minnesota, I don't know what it was about the planning to go to Minnesota. Maybe there just weren't as many options. But, I mean, Hunter Busy and I were sharing a full-size bed in the smallest hotel room I've ever been in. And it was just not ideal. But this trip was much better. I really liked where we stayed and how close it was to everything. And I love San Antonio. I didn't think I would. I love Austin. I love Dallas. And I guess, I don't know what I thought San Antonio would be like, but I had a lot of fun there. I think it's a great city.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I was impressed. You know, there's a lot of older buildings you can tell that's been repurposed 2 or 3 times, but you know, San Antonio's been around a long time. Just ask the folks at the Alamo. What did you think about the Alamo, by the way? Because I know you're not a big history buff.
No, I like history. I just, I'm going to be honest, the Alamo was really underwhelming and like super boring, and I just think.
Okay, so you've made real points with the Alamo Chamber of Commerce and the Florida fans today. So no, I'd heard it was small, and you know the
I don't
part.
know what I was expecting. You know, you always hear everything's bigger in Texas, and I just was getting a few bricks thrown around with some mortar and like 2-minute video we waited in line 30 minutes for that we could have watched on YouTube in the hotel room, you know?
Well, you know, the thing that you see, the little building, is the chapel, or what they call the mission. The full Alamo is actually 3 acres, that whole block, you know, where the wall went around it. And you got to remember, back in the 1800s, building a big structure like that was not an easy deal. So it was pretty impressive for the day.
I get it. Like, it's cool and stuff. I just maybe not my cup of tea. I do like history. I don't think that's an accurate statement. You said I don't like history. I just don't. The Alamo specifically, it just like doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it.
Well, I don't know too many people going, wow, the Alamo did it for me. It was a site where a lot of people got killed, including Davy Crockett, wasn't it? Wasn't he the one that got killed that was famous there?
I have no clue, Dad.
Yeah, okay. You don't even know who Davy Crockett is, do you?
No, I've heard of him.
Or Daniel Boone. It was one of them. There's so many of them. I think it was Davy Crockett, or was it Daniel Boone? I can't remember now.
I don't know.
It's the one that was a congressman from Tennessee for a while. But no,
I think it was Crockett, because all that stuff around there is named Crockett.
Yeah, the thing, it's kind of strange, and people had warned me about this. You have the Alamo, and then right across the street, like say it takes up a block, and then right across the street you have high rises everywhere, and more going up. So it's just kind of strange to see this old historic place and all these high
But
rises.
honestly, there weren't have you ever been to Austin or Dallas? There's
Oh,
way
yeah.
more high rises there than there are in San Antonio. I can't remember if Mel was saying this or someone else, but she was told that they're not doing any more high rises, or they have a height limit on them in San Antonio or something along those lines, because they're trying to keep it. They're not trying to make it like Austin or Dallas. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's it's kind of
There is a lot of historical buildings there, though. It did feel like we're in Little Mexico a little bit.
yeah. Well, it was Mexico at one point, and that's kind of where the rub come from. But I've went back and I read a little more about it, and there's 2 or 3 really good movies about the Alamo, and I think you'll appreciate it more if you watch those movies. And they're not like boring history movies. They're like, really interesting documentary type action things, and they're really. I mean, some of them are really good. I remember watching one of them as a kid, and I was just it was just terrorizing all of the Mexican soldiers coming over the wall and stabbing everybody.
Yeah, Dad, I'm not gonna watch those movies, but I feel like I have.
Well, guess what we're going to watch next time you're here with us? We're going to catch up on our Alamo documentaries. All right, Katelyn, thanks. Enjoyed it. Take care of yourself, and we hope to see you here at the lake in the near future.
I'll be there for Easter. I love you.
Love you too, babe. Thanks.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. A complete breakdown of the trip, the Final Four. I would say this, that if you are a sports fan or you're looking for something to go to, something a little bit different, I would plan on going to a Final Four. Met so many people that go every year, doesn't matter the teams. And if you plan early, hotels, travel, all that, much cheaper than if you wait to the week before. And as Katelyn mentioned, both times we've gone, Auburn was the last team in, which meant everything was taken, and it makes it much more difficult. So maybe easier to cancel some of that than it is get it last minute, just FYI. So, but we had a great trip, fun family trip. I would highly recommend it, and we appreciate all of you tuning in to this podcast. We've had a lot of fun recapping this from the Mellow Yellow studio. We want to remind you, we need you to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit our social media, subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Very important for the algorithms that help to push up the podcast. I know you get tired of hearing that. I do too when I listen to other podcasts, but it's really true, especially on YouTube. We need some subscribers on that. We have about 30 to 40,000 people listening to the podcast, and we have like 5 to 8,000 that are actually subscribed. So we need to get that number up. Anything I can do to help convince you to do that, please let me know. I want to congratulate again our winner, Rob Sudrith, who we tried to get in touch with, but we were unable to on this podcast. We'll try to catch him again later. He will be the first entry into Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. Now, we probably need some fancy music with that. By the way, some of you have asked me about the music. I think when you do a program like what we have done in the past or doing now, music adds a lot to it, the bumper music. But it is so complicated with the copyright stuff, doing podcast. Oh, my stars. It's just, it's almost impossible. So we've had to stay away from it except what we have the rights for. And hopefully we can expand that in the future. We're still kind of getting our legs under us on all this anyway. So, but we're working through it slowly but surely, and we appreciate your support. You are making it happen. Our sponsors are making it happen. Please let them know you appreciate it. And remember our message line. You heard some of the comments off of it this time, and I played a few of them just for you to enjoy. 308 Big Lake, 308 Big Lake, or 308-244-5253. But much easier to remember, 308 Big Lake. Leave us your comments, your thoughts, and they may make it to the podcast. Also, congratulations to Nancy Woodard, who we did have on the podcast, who is our runner-up in our big bracket challenge, and talked to her, very sweet lady, and very glad that she won that. So for all of us here at the Bubba on the Lake podcast, we want to thank you. We appreciate you, and we hope that you will tune in again the next time we sail into port.
You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Hit me bad.
A production of Intergalactic Pants and Tees.
All rights reserved.
This podcast is brought to you by Coke, Am First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Ann's Quilts, Guaranteed Labels, Central State Bank, and Sunrise Docks.
What is the Bubba on the Lake podcast? It's about defying peer pressure.
I mean, let's face it, everybody's doing a podcast.
They are.
I mean, if you ain't doing one, you're the oddball out. I mean, it's like not having a tattoo now, you know?
I don't have a tattoo or a podcast.
Can I tell
I'm just left out in the dark.
And overcoming adversity.
I don't know. My mom is pretty funny. She's 93.
Oh, she's funny.
She can cut loose. Yeah. So
She does stand up for us at family events.
I think that
She's not, and she can't stand up. That's what's even funny. I mean, she can, but it's with a walker.
She does a semi-stand-up.
Yeah. You ever seen a comedian with a walker? And I mean, really need it. It's not a prop.
Download episodes now at BubbaOnTheLake.com.